Hi, I'm Dirk van Zyl, and for this edition of Saxenburg Stories, I want to tell you a little bit more about malolactic fermentation, specifically in white wines. So what is malolactic fermentation? Well, it's the conversion of malic acid, which is a sharp acid, to lactic acid, which is much softer. It is performed by lactic acid bacteria, and they also produce diacetyl, a flavor compound that gives you that buttery flavor that you will find in some Chardonnays. Generally, malolactic is performed only on Chardonnays or Viogniers, not really on varieties such as Sauvignon Blanc. So why do you want malolactic fermentation in some white wines? Well, it gives you a lovely texture and creaminess to the wine, lends a bit of complexity, and also in high acid wines, it balances out the acidity because it lowers the acidity. The negative is that malolactic fermentation, if it's not done correctly or it's not judged correctly, it can take the wine out of balance. So if the wine is already low in acidity and you perform malolactic fermentation, the acidity will drop out too much and the wine can become flat and flabby. And also that diacetyl, that buttery flavor, can sometimes be a bit too dominant and hide your natural fruit flavor. So how do I go about performing malolactic fermentation on our Chardonnay at Saxenburg? Well, I firstly look at the vintage. So if the vintage is high in acid, I would generally perform more malolactic fermentation, and in lower acid years, I don't do as much malolactic fermentation. So to just give you an example, I have two samples here. They're both from the same Chardonnay, the same juice. This one, both of them fermented in barrel, but this one was sulfured up straight after alcoholic fermentation, and this one has undergone malolactic fermentation and hasn't been sulfured up. So let's see the difference. Beautiful fruit on the nose, lovely citrus aromas. Beautifully fresh on the palate, quite a nice acidity that gives lovely length to the palate. This is much rounder, much softer on the nose. There's a bit of that butteriness. Much less acidity on the palate, a lot creamier, a lot fuller, and this will balance each other out beautifully. I haven't sulfured this up yet because of that amount of diacetyl is for me at this stage a little bit too much. So I'm going to leave the oxygen doing its magic in there, and that oxygen will actually lower the diacetyl, and then some of the fruit will come out more prominently. That's when I'll sulfur it up. Then they will stay separately in barrel for about 10 months in total, 10 to 11 months in total, and then these wines will be blended to give us our final Chardonnay, which is, I must say, in this vintage going to be fantastic. Thank you for listening.